First, let's start with this case. My roommate and his friend have a complicated history. They previously attempted to date, but the relationship ended because she frequently yelled at him, often within my earshot. This constant yelling was not only disruptive, but also deeply triggering for me. I had to ask her to stop coming into my home after one incident where her yelling caused me so much stress that I had a physical reaction, leaving me shaking. About a week ago, I underwent a medical procedure that unfortunately resulted in me developing seizures, which are worsened by stress. I was just discharged from the hospital this morning and am still trying to recover. Today, the same friend came to our home, claiming her boyfriend was abusive and that she had no one else to turn to. I told my roommate I didn't want her inside due to the immense stress her presence causes me, but he let her in anyway. From my perspective, if she hadn't damaged so many of her relationships by being unpleasant and confrontational, she would have other people to turn to. She has a large family in this town, including her parents and grandparents, and I feel it's not my or my roommate's responsibility to help her, especially considering my current health situation. As soon as I found out she was in my home, the stress caused me to have a partial seizure. I told my roommate that if he didn't make her leave immediately, I would call the police to have her removed. He complied and asked her to leave. I feel terrible about the situation because I don't want to seem unsympathetic to someone in a difficult situation. However, I also believe I needed to prioritize my health and ensure my home remains a safe space for me. Am I in the wrong here? Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. This is a medical condition that you're concerned of. If she wants to be this pleading, then she can clearly go to her parents' home and seek refuge. There's also an actual women's shelter, and many more accurate ways to help her instead of running to y'all. How are you married and living with someone else? I'm curious because most married people live with their spouse. You're not in the wrong for a few reasons. First, your health comes first, zero wiggle room. And if she is in fact running from an abuser, you are under zero obligation to endanger yourself to be refuge. I say this a survivor who now helps others get safe. I won't let anyone on the run stay with me for my own safety. I will transport them and even pay for a haven, but I will not be one. Add to that, she just seems like a snake, and we don't invite that energy in. Next up, my husband, 30 Mens, is part of a close-knit friend group of 6 guys and their significant others who have all been friends since high school. I, 27F, get along well with everyone in the group, though we're not particularly close outside of activities involving my husband. Occasionally, the women in the group will plan something together without the guys, but it's rare. All of us are parents. What happened? Today, my husband found out that one of the couples in the group, couple 1, needed to be completely moved out of their house by tomorrow. Without being asked, he decided to go over and help them out. We have a 1-year-old who is very active, and a few months ago, when we helped another couple, couple 2, move, I realized that having our child there made me completely unhelpful. I couldn't assist with heavy lifting or organizing because I was constantly watching our child. Given that, I didn't join him today. I'm also 18 weeks pregnant, which further limits my ability to help with physical tasks. Later in the day, my husband mentioned that all the other couples from the group came to help, which I thought was great for couple 1. However, one of the wives from couple 3 sent me a snarky text saying that everyone showed up except for me and that it says a lot. I explained that I wasn't helpful in these situations because of watching my toddler, but she replied that everyone else had kids there too, and it wasn't an issue for them. She added, "Good excuse." For context, most of the other kids in the group are much older and more independent, except for one baby who is only a month old and mostly sleeps. Despite this, I felt judged unfairly. Later, couple 1's husband tweeted something about knowing who your friends are because of who shows up when you need them, which stung because it felt directed at me. I tried to defend myself further to couple 3's wife, pointing out that I'm pregnant and not able to lift heavy things. But she retorted that another woman in the group, couple 4's girlfriend, who is also pregnant, was there helping. However, she is only 5 weeks along, just found out recently, and doesn't have a toddler to manage on top of everything else. Now I feel like the entire group is judging me. Couple three's wife stopped responding to my messages, and when I texted couple one's wife to apologize for not being able to help, she didn't reply either. I'm hormonal, stressed, and second-guessing myself. Additional notes. Couple one wasn't evicted. They sold their house and were behind schedule on moving out. My husband wasn't criticized or confronted while helping, and the group didn't ask him to come. He went on his own to be helpful. The only person I'm upset with is couple three's wife because of her direct texts. Upon reflection, I think the tweet from couple one's husband might not have been aimed at me specifically. I likely took it that way because of how I was feeling after reading wife three's texts. Let's start judging. Please tell me you have friends outside of your husband's. I feel like this is a wake-up call. They clearly don't have your best interests at heart and don't feel close to you. A true friend wouldn't even need all the reasons you've been throwing at them. I get feeling disappointed because you thought your relationship was closer than it actually is. Think work friends. But I'd keep my distance without being disrespectful. Look, this might be an unpopular opinion, but barring some kind of emergency situation, at that age you need to be hiring professional movers and not expecting friends to show up and move your house. If people want to do it, obviously that's great. Knock your socks off. Expecting it, demanding it, shaming someone if they don't is simply unacceptable. You're not in the wrong. What's with the aggressive ganging up? It's a friend circle, not an effing cult. Your husband was there to help and offered time away from his family while you are pregnant and taking care of a toddler. He should support you in telling everyone else to back off. Next up, I, 17, live with my dad, my stepmother, SM, and her 2 older children. I've been living with them for about 8 years, ever since I was 9 years old. From the very beginning, I've had a strained relationship with her. When I was younger, I acted out and lied to my family and school in an attempt to cause a rift between her and my dad. I regret those actions now and acknowledge that I was wrong, but since then, our relationship has been tense, with constant arguments and conflicts. She disapproves of my close-knit group of friends, many of whom are part of the LGBTQ+ community, even though they've been a source of unwavering support for me during difficult times. Over the years, she's done things that have deeply hurt me. For instance, she once went through my school email account without permission, found a harmless meme exchange with a friend, and accused me of threatening her. She even took screenshots of private emails where I vented about her to my friends. She has also made deeply personal and cruel remarks, like showing me a picture of her miscarriage and blaming me for it, saying that my behavior caused her stress. On another occasion, when I said, "I don't want to live here anymore," she interpreted it as a threat to harm myself and threatened to send me to a psychiatric hospital. Today, we got into an argument, and things escalated. She began insisting that I call her mom or mother instead of addressing her by her first name. She justified this by saying she's my mother by law and that she's done so much for me, so she deserves my respect. To be fair, she has contributed to some positive aspects of my life, like encouraging me to do better in school, helping me form friendships, and fostering some of my successes. However, she frequently uses these accomplishments as leverage, claiming I owe her everything. She also often uses religion as a weapon against me, saying I'm influenced by negative forces if I don't follow her wishes. When I refused to call her mom, she became furious and threatened to destroy the things that matter most to me: my Nintendo Switch, vintage baseball cards, my deceased grandfather's binoculars, my books, and other cherished possessions. She said she would throw them off the freeway in front of me if I didn't comply. This deeply upset me because I've never considered her to be a mother figure in my life. Her behavior has been emotionally abusive, and her threats make me feel like I'm living in fear, which isn't how a parent should treat their child. Her insistence that I should fear her as God expects only reinforces my negative feelings about religion because of how it's been used against me. Am I wrong for refusing to call my emotionally abusive stepmother mom? To me, respect is earned, not demanded through threats or fear. Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. Where is your dad in all this? Why isn't he mediating between the two of you? Threatening to destroy your stuff, calling you a puppet of Satan, is way past where he should be intervening. Also, I hope you've got a more secure password on your email now. If you're still using your school email, you should get a private one such as Gmail to use with your friends. Do not use the same password as your school email. You're not in the wrong, but where is your father in this discussion? She has no right to destroy your belongings, and you need to secure them somewhere safe. If you ever need to call her anything, you might try Mother Dearest, with all the appropriate tone in your voice. You're not in the wrong. So far from being idiot, it's ridiculous. Do you have a school counselor you can talk to? Any other relatives or family friends? This is an awful lot for one person of any age to be dealing with. I am assuming there are reasons why your father hasn't become involved in this. Please be kind to yourself, and if possible, don't carry the burden of all of this by yourself. I had a differently challenging childhood and soldiered along on my own. That was not a good thing. It was a long time ago, and there wasn't too much available by way of support. I believe things are a little better these days. I really hope you find a way to get some help and support, because this is a lot to be dealing with, notwithstanding how strong you have already been. Next up, I, 25F, have been living on my own for 6 years, while my mom, 46, and my younger brother, 9M, live together at her house. My mom has been going through a very tough time in recent years. Her mother passed away 5 years ago, and her partner, who is my brother's father, broke up with her 3 years ago. She doesn't work, so I financially support her and my brother as much as I can, contributing around 500 to 600 euro a month. I believe my mom is dealing with severe depression, but she refuses to seek help. I've offered to pay for therapy many times, but she always declines, saying, "Only crazy people go there." We've had countless arguments when I try to help or offer advice, and she often complains about it. I've even tried asking if she simply wants to vent or hear solutions, but no matter what I do, she gets upset. Recently, my brother has been struggling in school and failing his exams. My mom has been expressing her frustration about this, but in a very negative way. On one occasion, she said, "It's not my fault he's dumb," right in front of him. I reassured my brother that he is not dumb and offered to help by creating a structured plan where I'd teach him different subjects and prepare homework for him to practice during the week. However, I emphasized that Mom and Dad needed to help him complete the work. She agreed, but neither of them followed through. Despite the lack of support from them, my brother has been doing much better and passing his exams. He's even expressed happiness at finally understanding the material, which was heartwarming, but also heartbreaking when he said, "I'm not dumb after all." Yesterday, my brother received his first 8 out of 10 on a math exam and was excited to share the news. We celebrated with a happy dance, but my mom interrupted us and said, "What are you celebrating? Don't you see he's dumb? He can't even get a good grade with your help. He's useless." Her words crushed him, and I couldn't hold back my anger. I snapped at her, saying, "And who are you to say that? The parent who can't even help their own child with homework? He's doing really well, especially considering who his parents are. And an 8 is a good grade. You just refuse to be proud of him." After that, I took my brother out for a walk and dinner to cheer him up. When we returned, my mom was crying, saying I was rude and that she's doing her best. I know my mom is in a bad place emotionally, and I do feel bad for yelling at her. But I'm also tired of her constantly insulting my brother, who's already trying so hard to do better. Let's start judging. He 8/10 on his test? That's 80%, a B. That's a pretty decent grade, and in a subject he's had difficulty with. I'd be very proud. I certainly was when I saw marks like that on tests in subjects I had difficulty with. If you're concerned about pursuing custody of your brother, and I certainly would be, based on the details you shared in your post, your mother clearly doesn't respond to criticism very well, and you would end up in a monumental fight where the odds are already stacked in favor of the parent rather than you as the sibling. It would get very ugly very fast. Continue to help your brother with his studies, as it's clearly having an impact, and continue to be there for him in general, as he clearly needs it. He's going to be hitting puberty and his teenage years soon. And those years are brutal for everyone. He's going to need you. The longer your brother stays with her, the more issues he will have as an adult. It's a stretch, but it may be best if he lives with someone else. You're not in the wrong. Calling a child useless is extremely harmful, and it's great that you stood up for him and protected him. Your mom is verbally abusive and manipulative. It's great that your brother has you. Your mother abusing your brother. This is psychological abuse, and she is neglecting him. She will traumatize his own son. You were not rude. She needs a reality check, and she is not qualified to be a mother. Your brother needs an adult to protect him.